I am Chelsea, and I will never forget the day my family walked into my mansion in Silicon Valley. Their footsteps echoed across the marble floors. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above them. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the golden California sunset, but none of that was louder than the silence on their faces. Shock, disbelief, and something else they had never shown me before, uncertainty. For years, I had imagined this moment, sometimes with pride, sometimes with anger, sometimes with tears. I had dreamed of the day they would finally see me, not as the different one, not as the confused one, not as the daughter who played with computers instead of choosing a real career. My story didn't begin in a mansion. It began in a small town in Texas. A quiet neighborhood, a modest house, a family that valued tradition above all else. My father, Tom, was a respected school principal, structured, disciplined, practical. My mother, Linda, a dedicated nurse, compassionate but cautious. Stability was their religion. Risk was something you avoided. My older brother, Jake, was the pride of the family. 8 years older than me, he became a well-known lawyer in the city. At every family gathering, his cases were discussed like national news. My sister Lisa, 6 years older, became a successful accountant. Responsible, predictable, safe. They followed the path laid out for them. And I didn't. While they studied textbooks and prepared for traditional careers, I sat in my bedroom surrounded by old computer parts. I dismantled CPUs for fun. I wrote code late into the night. I was fascinated by possibility. Chelsea, why can't you be more like your siblings? My mother would sigh. They're building real futures, my father would add. You're just playing with machines. Those words stayed with me longer than they ever knew. In high school, I created a software program designed to help local farmers optimize crop yields using predictive analytics. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. I entered it into a statewide technology competition. For months, I barely slept. The night they announced the winner, my heart pounded so loudly I thought I might faint. First place goes to Chelsea. Applause filled the auditorium. I held the trophy with shaking hands. I thought finally they will see. I called home immediately. That's nice, dear, my father said calmly. But don't let it distract you from your studies. You still need a stable career. The excitement drained out of me like air from a balloon. When I was accepted into a top-tier technology program on the East Coast, I was ecstatic. My parents were not. It's too far. There are no guarantees in technology. Why not choose something secure? But this time, I didn't bend. I left. I worked 2 part-time jobs. I took out loans. I lived in a tiny apartment where the heater barely worked. I ate instant noodles for dinner more nights than I can count. I coded until sunrise. I doubted myself. I cried quietly sometimes. And then I met Professor Emily Thompson. She didn't see me as reckless. She saw potential. You don't just think differently, she told me once. You build differently, start something of your own. That sentence changed everything. I built Farm Tech Pro, an AI-powered app designed to help farmers manage soil health, weather data, and crop cycles more efficiently. The beginning was brutal. Rejections, unanswered emails, investors who smiled politely and never called back. And at home, this startup idea is a pipe dream, my father would say over the phone. Come back, get a real job. It hurt. But pain can either weaken you or sharpen you. At a technology conference, I met Sarah, a sharp, strategic businesswoman with vision in her eyes. She watched my demo carefully. You don't need a better product, she said. You need scale. She became my partner. Together, we refined our pitch and entered a competition offering $100,000 in seed funding. The night before the pitch, I called my parents. Don't get your hopes up, my father warned. Investors look for certainty, not risky ideas. The next day, I stood on stage under bright lights. I spoke with everything I had, logic, data, heart. When they announced our name as the winner, my knees nearly gave out. But that wasn't all. Investors approached us afterward. Real interest, real money, real validation. When I called home, the reaction was restrained. "That's good," my mother said carefully. "Just be cautious." Over the next few years, Farm Tech Pro exploded in growth. Major agricultural corporations signed contracts. Our technology reduced costs, increased yield efficiency, and improved sustainability. We expanded internationally. The numbers climbed. Revenue multiplied. Valuation soared. And one day, I became a millionaire. Soon after, I bought a mansion in Silicon Valley. Not to show off, but to prove, at least to myself, that I had built something real. As headlines about my company spread, my family's tone began to change. Phone calls became more frequent. "So, this app of yours is really successful?" my father asked one afternoon. There was surprise in his voice, and maybe something close to respect. Then came the annual family reunion, an event where I had always felt like the odd one out. This time, I planned to skip it. Before I could decline, I received an email from my Uncle David. "You are uninvited," it read. "Your flashy lifestyle may make others uncomfortable." I stared at the screen in silence. After everything, I was still the problem. That night, something shifted inside me. Instead of shrinking, I decided to rise. On the same weekend as the reunion, I organized a gathering at my mansion. I invited every extended family member, except my parents and Uncle David. If they believed I would embarrass them, I would show them the truth. The house was transformed, elegant decor, soft music, a catered dinner, warm lighting across the terrace overlooking the hills. When relatives arrived, their reactions were pure awe. "Chelsea, this is incredible." For the first time, they weren't comparing me. They were listening. They were asking questions. They were proud. Then, unexpectedly, my parents and Uncle David appeared at the entrance. No invitation. But curiosity had brought them. I walked toward them calmly. "Welcome," I said. As I guided them through the mansion, I watched their expressions carefully. The awards lining the walls. The innovation lab in my home office. The framed global partnership agreements. The view from the terrace. They weren't seeing extravagance. They were seeing proof. During a toast, Sarah raised her glass. "Chelsea saw a problem no one else was solving. Her success isn't luck. It's discipline, sacrifice, and courage." My father shifted in his chair. Later, alone on the terrace, the air cool and quiet, my father spoke. "You've done better than we expected." For a moment, the old sting returned. But this time, I didn't shrink. "I didn't need you to expect more," I said gently. "I needed you to believe in me." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "We didn't understand," she admitted. "Maybe we still don't, but we are proud." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. However, my growth didn't stop at emotional closure. I secured majority controlling shares of my company. I structured my legal assets independently. I created a trust with explicit clauses ensuring no one, family included, could claim ownership, influence, or control without my written authorization. Not out of revenge, but out of clarity. Respect without boundaries is fragile. Success without protection is vulnerable. Uncle David attempted one last, sarcastic remark at a later dinner. This time, I met his eyes calmly. "If my success makes you uncomfortable," I said evenly, "that is your insecurity, not my responsibility." Silence followed. And in that silence, power shifted. Today, my mansion is no longer a symbol of revenge. It is a symbol of freedom. I no longer build to prove. I build because I can. If you have ever had to fight for belief from the people who were supposed to support you, if you have ever chosen your own path despite doubt, remember this: The most powerful success is the one that doesn't beg for approval. If this story resonated with you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your experience in the comments. Your story might inspire someone who is still fighting to be believed.